Monday, 4 p.m., Jazz Shaw and Stephen Greenstreet. Wednesday, 4 p.m., Ralph Blumenthal. 5 p.m., Skinwalker Review and Friends. On Friday, journalist Daniel Otis from Vice News Magazine. Tuesday, 4 p.m. on the Singularity Lab, Down the Wormhole. Thursday at 4 p.m., Space Robots. Come aboard and get weird on the Unidentified Celebrity Review.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Unidentified Celebrity Review. We'll be kicking things off in just a couple minutes here. I'm rather be squidding, but this afternoon, there's no place I'd rather be than here. So you grab your seat, grab some popcorn, and settle in for a great show. We've got 25 of you here already. That's amazing. Great to see you all. UAP is a worldwide phenomenon, and that's part of the reason we're starting this show at 1 p.m. today to hopefully get some UK and Europe people in here. Hopefully it's a more reasonable hour for you. And, jubilant June is upon us. The snowball is continuing to roll with the recent New York Times article that kind of scoops the conclusions of the UAP task force. UAPs are real. UFOs are real. It's becoming clear that that's what the report will tell us. But there is something lacking, and that's context. The report is only considering UAP since the year 2000. And if these events have really been going on for 50 years prior to that, the conclusions that we'd reach are much different. Today, you're going to get some of that context. We have Daniel Otis in the house. He's our guest today. He's done an amazing job of digging up and reporting on these UFO reports from Canada. He's done an amazing job digging up these reports, and they might be a little bit ahead of us in disclosure. He describes 14 truly bizarre accounts from highly trained military personnel since 1950. It's going to be a great discussion. I ran out of space on the notes I was taking. You ever do that where you start to write really small to cram everything in? That's what I had to do with all the information that was in his article. And some of these incidents are even very similar to what's been reported recently. And technology was very much different back in the 1950s. So that kind of tells you something. Really most astounding to me is that mainstream media is still kind of focusing on these recent unknowns instead of these historical records that Daniel produced. And these aren't even the only unknowns. There are some from America as well that aren't being reported. Things like fast movers under the ocean and fast walkers detected by our satellites. I'll be digging into some of those on my channel, Rather Be Squidding. So search for me there and subscribe to keep up to date on that. But, it almost seems as if we need these former government officials that are involved yelling to us that these are truly bizarre before we take notice. I don't know. What do you all think? We got 39 of you, 40 of you here now. Great to see you. Thank you, Matt, for coming out. Always great to see you. Got the primate is here. That is great to see you as well. And of course, we got Case for Affinity and Artemis. Thanks for showing up. It's about that time. Looks like it's 1 o'clock on the dot now. I'm really excited to get going. Let's kick things off here by welcoming your hosts of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, Luis Jimenez and Michael Mataluni.
Hello. Well, you hit the wrong button, rather.
I find it. Sorry, Mike.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's going to happen, Michael, you're muted.
Am I?
There you go. Now we go. Now we hear you. Yeah, what's going on? Right off on the wrong foot today. Hello, good morning, good day, good evening, good afternoon, and aloha. Welcome back to the Unidentified Celebrity Review, your home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UAPs and UFOs. My name's Luis Jimenez. That is my co-host, Michael Mataluni. That is our producer, Mr. Rather Be Squidding. How are you boys doing today? Welcome back. Are you excited for today's show?
I am jacked up. I'm so excited, and to be honest with everybody here, I didn't even get a chance to read Daniel Otis's article until today. But when I read it, I was absolutely blown away, and just the history that the Canadian military has with these incursions is just absolutely fascinating, and the way it's been covered up for so long and made to feel fringe to keep people from coming forward with these stories is quite amazing. So I'm really excited to be able to ask the questions that I have to Daniel today. So super exciting.
No, that is going to be exciting. Before we get started, though, I want to remind everybody, this coming week, we've got Richard Hoffman on Monday. We've got Erica Lukes on Wednesday. And then we have a surprise guest for Friday. Not 100% sure if he's committed yet, but it's going to be excited if he does commit for Friday. So stay tuned for that. And also, we got the Singularity Lab on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Everything at 4 p.m. PST, except for Fridays. We start at 1. So, with all of that said, let's bring on the our guest for the day. So it's Daniel Otis. He's a journalist. Or Michael, I'm sorry, I stepped on your toes there. That's your part.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
He's a journalist who covers travel, trials, and almost everything in between. You can find his news and feature stories from Canada, Cambodia, and abroad in outlets like the Toronto Star, Vice, CTV News, The Globe, and Mail. Sunset, Al Jazeera, Roads and Kingdoms, The Diplomat, State, Slate, Southeast Asia Globe, Next City, and The Monthly. The man is a busy dude. He writes all over the place. He's an insanely great journalist. I read his articles from Vice, and I'm happy that he's here, Mr. Daniel Otis. Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome to the Unidentified Celebrity Review.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
I've got to say, those glasses are pretty snazzy, my friend.
They are. They are. They do fit.
All the better to see you with.
Yeah. So Daniel, I guess let's start. What the hell's going on in Canada? Why does it matter? Why should it matter to the American people who don't live there? Why do you think, if you think that this phenomena doesn't have borders, is that safe to say?
Well, I think that's certainly true, but in a very real sense, Canada and the United States, we have a huge undefended border. And, we have one organization, NORAD, that's supposed to take care of the defense of all of that. And, what's happening in Canada, matters to the United States. For example, there's a case I looked at, an aviation case from 2005, where 4 commercial pilots reported seeing a shiny silvery object over Lake Ontario that took a sharp turn and then just zapped south down to the United States. So it's an issue without borders for sure.
What do you think? I mean, comparing responses from is it Parliament in Canada?
Yeah.
Comparing responses from Parliament versus Congress or the Senate in the United States, what are the differences that you're seeing there?
Oh, frankly, there is no response from parliaments in Canada. It's interesting in Canada. I think it might be easier to get documents and information out of our government through our access to information laws, which that's what we call, you guys call FOIA. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, our politicians don't talk about it. We don't have anybody like Rubio or Warner or Reid, getting up and making public statements on it. It just isn't happening.
It's interesting because you guys had Paul Hellyer back in the day made a big deal about this. Is that torch, that mantle, has not been carried on by anyone in the Canadian government since?
No, and Paul Hellyer was a minister of defense way back in the day. And he only became outspoken on the issue and interested in the issue, he says in interviews, after his time in office.
Right.
I mean, in the United States, you guys have sitting politicians, making public statements about this stuff. It's not happening here.
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting. It seems like maybe Canada's political apparatus isn't taking it seriously, but you noted in your article that in 1953, it sounded like the Canadian military put into place standardization of UFO reports, something that America seemingly only did in the last 20 years. So
yeah,
are they ahead of us there?
Well, the reporting procedures have been in place, like you said, since the 1950s. They actually originally started in Canada, I believe, in 1950. They were revised and standardized again in 1953, and I think there were other revisions. But generally speaking, the UFO sightings in Canadian history, they were captured by reporting mechanisms that were designed to create reports on Soviet incursions of aircraft and vessels like that. All these historic UFO reports were inadvertently picked up by that, and they were getting so many of them that as early as 1953, Canada's Air Command said, we need to standardize the UFO reporting process. We're getting so many of these, we need to have a standard form for this kind of thing.
That's wild. I have a quick question for you. So it was interesting. One of the events that you describe in your article in 2002, you write an observation on NORAD radar of large tubular object between 37 and 47,000 feet. And supposedly this was caught on video, and you or I'm not sure if you put in not the FOIA request, but the request, but they end up saying absolutely nothing was found. Is this something that you find a lot when you're trying to access this information, even though it was there and now it somehow can't be found?
First of all, guys, I'm getting a big echo here. Are you getting me clear? Is it?
No.
Are you hearing me clear? I just want
we hear you clear. If you get an echo, what we recommend doing is just back out real quick, and then come back in, and you should be okay.
No, it's okay. As long as you can hear me fine.
Well, what I'll do is I'll turn down because sometimes I'm deaf, so sometimes my headphones are really loud.
It also could be possible, Daniel, that you've got it open. You've got this conversation open in YouTube and your browser on another tab.
Definitely do not.
Okay.
It's okay. Cool. As long as you can hear me fine, let's just keep rolling.
You're great.
Right on.
So to answer your question about the FOIA, the access to information request,
right.
The case you're referencing, that wasn't involving the tubular object. The video, actually I have the report right here. In 2007, September 2007, multiple military policemen and personnel with NORAD witnessed a large orb of light hovering over a Canadian Air Force base that is affiliated with NORAD. So within the military policeman's report, they said that that the object was captured on, camera and video. I was able to find the military policeman who filed the report. He told me that the object was captured on the base's security cameras as well as a cell phone camera, and it was all logged into evidence as per protocol. And I've actually submitted 3 different access to information requests to try and obtain that data, and every single time it's come up, records can't be found. And not only that, my source, this wasn't in the story, he said, so the incident was in 2007. He said in 2019, long after he'd retired, he got a knock on the door from military policemen asking if he had backups because nobody could find these videos or photos.
Wow, interesting.
What can we do to track these down? Do you think calling politicians and putting pressure on, or what else can we do?
Well, the source said, and this wasn't in his report, was obtained by access to information requests. And he told me, it wasn't in the report, but the whole thing was sent to Colorado, to NORAD for analysis, and he said their conclusion, quote, it was a celestial event, which is the most enigmatic conclusion you can think of for a UFO site. Celestial could be a shooting star, or
could be a billion things.
Venusian. So it was, I don't know. Maybe Colorado has it. I've definitely asked them. I'm waiting for a reply.
So there's a question from the chat, but before we get to that, real quick, at this Air Force base that you had mentioned, where this happened, is there a lot of nuclear activity there? Is it a nuclear Air Force base? Let me ask, what's the nuclear program like, I guess, in Canada? I'm assuming not as intensified as ours, but I'm assuming you have some.
So this base, it's one of the main operative bases for NORAD. So basically, a lot of the Canadian Air Defense Command is located at this base. In terms of nuclear stuff, Canada doesn't have nuclear weapons, or at least it's not supposed to. Historically, there's been incidents of, U.S. aircraft carrying nuclear weapons that have stopped in Canada. As far as I know, we don't have nuclear silos sitting somewhere, but if anyone has that information, sure. I'll take it. But this base in particular, I don't think so.
Are there any?
We don't have nuclear. You know, it's not like the United States where they're hiding under every shrub. You know, like,
right, right. Well, I was going to ask though. Do you know of any military bases that are run by American government that may or may not have some strategically placed launch sites in Canada? I would imagine that might be going on.
There are U.S. Air Force personnel at multiple bases in Canada as part of NORAD, including the one that the sighting occurred at. And one other cool thing that's probably worth mentioning, this one particular sighting that had an estimated 15 witnesses, that was 2007. By going back into Canada's archives, I found one from the same base from 1952.
Wow.
And that was a pair of Air Force officers. The 2007 case was an orb of light that sort of gradually, rose. The one in 1952 was an object that sped across the sky, stopped, and then completely reversed. Wow. I think that their quote was, the guy said it traveled, double the speed of a F-86, I think is what they said, which, was one of the definitely faster jets in the arsenal back in 1952. So it was fascinating for me to see that continuity, that here's more than 55 years, the exact same location. And the one in the 50s is a heck of a lot weirder than the one in the 2000s. It really, erodes any sort of argument that these are commercially available drones.
Daniel, this is an incredibly in-depth piece that you wrote, and I'm very curious, first of all, why you went so far back in history, and I should preempt that by saying we appreciate it. Yeah. But one of the things that we're noticing with this new report coming out in the U.S. is it's really only covering recent years, but it would make sense to go back further and really understand all of the aspects to these sorts of incursions. First of all, I'm curious how long it took you to investigate this piece, and what advice might you give U.S. journalists who want to do something similar here in the U.S.?
I mean, don't be afraid of the historical records. I think it makes the argument that we're dealing with something unusual more compelling when you can show that historical continuity. I think if I just wrote a piece that was based on historical records alone, it would be less interesting. But by sort of juxtaposing cases from the 2000s with those that happened in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, every single decade, the Cold War era going back, it just shows that there's a continuity. People are observing very similar things in the same places for decades.
Yeah, you brought that up in your article, the continuity piece, because I think a lot of folks oftentimes think of different decades, UFOs kind of look different or have different traits or have a sort of different, popularity in how they're described, or popular opinion, I guess. But that's not really what you found, right? Or is it?
Sorry, I was just reading a question here. There's a chatter about nuclear power plants. I should clarify. Canada isn't supposed to have nuclear weapons, but we do have nuclear power plants. We actually just a short ride away from me, I think it's the third oldest operational nuclear power plant in the world.
Oh my god, that sounds terrifying.
It's weird. The cement is all aging and water stained, and it's freaky. If there's a meltdown there, Toronto, where I live, which is North America's fourth largest city, would be radiation ground zero. So yes, we do have nuclear power plants. Sorry, Michael, I was okay. The comments were asking for clarification on this, and
no worries.
Do you mind repeating your question?
Yeah, not at all. I'm just curious. You mentioned in your article the continuity between the sightings throughout the decade. So just curious. I've always heard of popular culture having kind of a different awareness throughout the decades of what sort of UFOs people see, but it sounds like it's pretty consistent from the research that you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone who has the time, a lot of these archives are on the web. They were released by Canada's National Research Council and the Department of Defense. If you Google National Research Council UFO, you'll pull this up. And, there's reports in there that are from everyday citizens. There's reports there from police officers. There was one report I found that involved a police officer, for the better part of half an hour, having a bright light hovering directly over their cruiser in the 1960s.
Wow.
So it's not just military folks seeing this stuff. It's not just Americans. This is truly global.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
I was
ask.
kind of
No, I'm sorry,
well,
brother.
I was kind
Go
of
for it.
surprised by you have 14 historical cases here. It didn't look like any of them were the classic saucer shaped. It looked like they were almost all kind of these orbs of light, which I found kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I did another report in April on aviation cases, so cases involving pilots for major airlines, and there were some more of those traditional round objects, and that report was based on Transport Canada's aviation incident database. Transport Canada, so this database, it's kind of like, imagine if the FAA actually does have something similar, where it just compiles all the trouble pilots have gotten into. That could be a bird strike, unruly passenger, mechanical failure. And interestingly enough, in the Canadian system, there's a lot of UFO reports. So, like, for example, here, this one was May 30th, 2016. An Air Canada Express flight from Montreal to Toronto reported it had, quote, crossed an unidentified flying object, round in shape, flying at an approximate speed of 300 knots, which is more than 550 kilometers an hour. I couldn't tell you in miles per hour off the top of my head. But so there are some reports like that. I have yet to discover many like that, in the in terms of military archives, but they exist in Canada's aviation incident database. That's for sure.
There was an interesting question here from the chat, and it's just one of these things that I'm also curious that if it parallels between the two nations, and that is, are there any rumors or reports of crash retrievals in Canada's? Is that something that you hear a lot of up there? Because we certainly get a lot of it here, and it seems like we've gotten tips or sort of hints from Lou Elizondo that we have materials, we've retrieved things. It seems like there's an intelligence behind the materials that have been retrieved, and that intelligence doesn't seem to fit human. So,
my research hasn't gone deep into retrieved materials in Canada. Most of what I know on the subject came from, the YouTube series It's Redacted.
Right.
He did a piece on retrieved materials that involved actually some Canadian cases. I watched it. I read the source documents that he posted, and I love that he always posts his source documents. What is it? I don't know, but it's a good story that I don't know enough about.
Yeah. Well, I guess what was your favorite aspect of writing this newest article that when you were researching it, what was the thing that made you go, that's interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, did you have because I'm not a journalist, so do journalists get like aha moments like that where they're like, wow, listen, this is...
I started backwards. So I started having, obtained some interesting reports via access to information requests that were contemporary. And I was writing a story about these contemporary reports. I had no intention of including this Cold War stuff. And as I sort of dug into the Canada's historical archives, and I started seeing, sightings at the same bases, the same military bases, decade after decade after decade, back to the early 50s, that was the aha moment. That this isn't necessarily just one-off sightings, one guy sometime, that, again, to use the word continuity, that it's just been happening again and again. And the sightings, the sighting from 1952 reads the same as some of the ones we read from the 2000s.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, go for it, Rad.
Well, do you get the impression that they go back even further than that? Is like the 1950s just kind of when we started getting the technology to observe these, or do you think it started then?
Who knows? There's, we've all heard, so-called UFO reports from, before the World War II era. I think there's a lot of reports from after, because, these were objects that were captured, as I said, with reporting mechanisms designed to identify Soviet aircraft and Soviet ships entering North American waters. So because when those reporting mechanisms were put in place at the beginning of the Cold War, that's when all the UFO reports started coming in. Now, is it because of that, or like, I don't know what the causality is, but there is a direct linkage there.
I did find it fascinating when you talked to John Williams about the object that he saw, and he said, and he is a military pilot, and he said that he'd been hearing stories since as early as 1966 of military pilots chasing objects that they couldn't catch. And he goes on to say, I'm pretty sure that they weren't chasing Russians because we can catch Russians.
John, or Jock as he likes to go by, is a great guy. And yeah, so he had a sighting himself in Winnipeg, Manitoba at the Air Force Base there in the 1980s. And he actually had another one in the, I believe it was in the 1990s. I didn't put that in the story because it had happened after he'd retired. Wow. And this is a guy who's he logged, I think, something like 13,000 hours. Yeah. He knows what to look for in the sky. And one thing that I met him when I was doing a story on aviation incidents, like involving airline pilots. And he said something to me that really stuck. He said, the topic is so stigmatized, and, the people who report this stuff are subject to so much ridicule that, if somebody is reporting it, if they're a pilot or military personnel, then you have to take them seriously because they have nothing to gain by putting these reports out there.
Right. What do you make of the debunker? Right. What do you make of the debunkers who talk about these trained observers and try to say these are natural events or things that they just can't? They're just not trained to see.
They're
what
mistaken.
Do you make of that? Yeah.
I think they're doing a disservice to these people who are clearly professionals. For the most recent story I did, I interviewed 3 former military personnel who all had stories to share, and they didn't pretend to guess about what they saw. They said, I don't know. That's right. What they said. And I think a problem with a lot of the people who make their career as debunkers is they're approaching it from an absolute certainty. They're approaching the subject with the preconceived notion that it's all BS. Mm-hmm. And I think we just need to look at it for what it is. I'm sure a lot of these sightings do have conventional explanations, and I'm sure a lot, there's a good chunk of them probably are BS, but not all of them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We try to make the distinction on the show all the time about how important it is to understand the difference between skepticism and debunking, because debunking comes associated with preconceived notions and bias, whereas skepticism is an earnest scientific approach to understanding a phenomenon.
Sure. I think the reports, within the stories I've done about aviation incidents and military incidents, the evidence is that people are seeing something. I think, and I find it difficult to have conversations with people who dispute that fact.
Yeah, I think that, your research, your article really helps provide that context. So if you do just look at the last 20 years, I could see the case being made that maybe that is human tech. But yeah, when you see that we've had these spheres disappearing into the ocean and things zigzagging around in the 70s and 60s, then it starts to become unexplained. But I don't feel like that's very well known. I feel like you're doing a great job of getting it out there, but it needs to get out there more, I feel like.
I mean, those historical records exist in the United States, right? Like, I would love to see some enterprising American journalists, do that, show that continuity at similar bases and locations. I mean, there's been a lot of great, reporting TV shows and segments that bring these up. I'd love for someone to take all that and, link it all together.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I just started asking, we asked Ralph Blumenthal. I wanted to ask Gadi Schwartz. The reason it seems like we're not getting a lot of data, people are screaming for data, longer videos, longer this, more radar. But the problem from the Pentagon's point of view is that it's all classified. Those are all fairly new systems that they're using, and they have no interest in revealing how any of their stuff works. So wouldn't it be pertinent upon us to go back, say, 20 years to the Cold War, 30 years of the Cold War, or the Vietnam War, or World War I, World War II, and start looking at these reports and seeing what kind of radar systems picked them up then? Because those are all unclassified systems. Those are all systems that there should be no issue getting FOIA requests and getting that data and do like what you did, compare it to what these pilots are seeing today and making this connection of, hey, this is not just a brand new thing. This is decades that we're talking about here, that people have been seeing these patterns, and this is exactly what science is begging for: patterns, things to study, things to maybe even predict. But we're never going to know until we start having the conversation. So, I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, do you think that that's where American journalists should start focusing more on, just because it might be easier to get that information?
Well, the problem is finding it. If data, when you file, for example, like a FOIA or access to information request, you're dealing usually with a pretty junior information officer who's then speaking to a subject matter expert in whatever department, you're targeting. Mm-hmm. And, they don't know where this stuff is. They like in terms of what box and which file folder and which
what building, yeah.
Like the people who are dealing with your requests know as much as I do or you do, in most cases. That's the challenge with the historical data. I mean, luckily in my case, the Canadian government, the Canadian Library Archive, they published literally thousands of pages of this stuff, all Cold War era. But they made it all publicly available. They did a great service to those who want to investigate and research this topic in the country.
It's fantastic. Go ahead, Rather.
Well, would it be safe to assume that all these Canadian reports were contemporaneously shared with America and other, NATO forces, or do you think they're secret? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, especially through NORAD, once NORAD was established, there was and is a lot of information through there. But, unfortunately, NORAD is, because it's a binational defense pact and organization, they're not subject to FOIA and access to information legislation. They're sort of above and beyond it. So if you can send requests in, but they can say sorry, no, and be completely legally justified.
One of my major concerns with the 180-day report that's coming out here in the U.S. in the next few weeks, we believe, is that it's strictly based on, again, very recent data and only on military personnel's perspective, identifications, and analysis. My concern is that we have citizen scientists who might be able to lend a hand when it comes to understanding this data and extrapolating from it. Are you seeing in Canada citizen scientists who are interested in this topic and who are looking to expand the databases and networks and analysis that would allow us to get to some conclusions?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of citizen investigators and researchers here, and I'm in communication with a whole bunch of people, who are digging into the matter. From my perspective, working for like larger mainstream news outlets, I have a very fine line to walk. If 10 respectable gentlemen see something bizarre while having a barbecue in their backyard, like I don't know if I can write about that.
Right.
And especially another thing that's worth considering, up until the 60-minute special on the UAP issue, there really was no coverage on it in Canada in mainstream media. They just, like, mainstream media here just wouldn't touch it, the way that more enterprising American outlets would.
I was talking to somebody up there who we're pretty close with, who is a researcher on this topic, and she said if you find it outside of the entertainment section, you'd be shocked. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
no, for sure. For years, major outlets like the New York Times and CNN have been taking a serious look at this. That's not happening here. But, the 60-minute segment did change the conversation. Every major media outlet in Canada followed. And so hopefully that's going to lead to a bit of a thawing. But even like my first stories on the topic were published in April. And, and I found a great home with Vice, but I'm a journalist. I'd spoken to a lot of other editors prior to publication, and there was just a general disinterest. They just thought it was some goofy business akin to, writing about leprechauns. Like it just wasn't taken seriously. I think 60 Minutes is really helped change the tone in major media, newsrooms. So I hope we'll see more mainstream reporting in Canada now.
Yeah, I'm impressed you were able to break in prior to that. Luckily, that Vice is open-minded enough to cover this topic. But you came to Vice with this topic in mind. Is this something that you're passionate about and wanted to write about?
Oh yeah. So I've been working in journalism for about a decade or more. I've written hundreds of stories for over 24 outlets. I've written 3 stories about UFOs. So I came to Vice, close to around the time of the new year, with a pitch, I'd literally compiled dozens upon dozens of these aviation incidents I alluded to before. So, this is major airlines in Canada, like Air Canada and WestJet. This database even contained a case from, I believe it was United Airlines on May 9th, saw something weird above the Prairie province of Saskatchewan. Yeah. So, I had spent the better part of 4 or 5 months reading thousands upon thousands of these reports and then plucking out, the more unusual ones. And so I approached Vice after having done all that research, around the time of the new year.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary topic, and my concern is that it's hit like lightning the mainstream media over the past several weeks. My fear is that if we don't get anything out of this 180-day report, will we see this die off in the mainstream media? And will you give me your word you won't let it?
Well, I'm not going to stop my efforts. It's up to editors about whether or not they want to publish them. I don't know. You know what? I don't think we're going to see it die off. I don't think, people who are seriously interested in this topic, they're probably not going to get the daily reports that they'd like in, Canada's Toronto Star, for example. But I think once this report breaks, it'll allow the conversation to happen in a more open way. And then I think you will see more coverage on it. I don't think it's going to be wall to wall, perhaps, but initially, yes, but it'll fade. But I think it'll be part of it's going to be cemented in the popular public consciousness, and it's going to be hard for those who control newsrooms to escape that.
That's such a great point.
Yeah,
I was really amazed at all the stuff that you picked up and reported on. Do you think that there's anything that the Canadian government, more secrets that they haven't revealed that you haven't dug up, and that maybe we should be pressing for?
I'm pressing on some. Just like I don't want to get too much into it, but I think there's more. There's definitely more, because the only things they let on are like just this, the trickle of like reports that come out through information requests. And in terms of their spokespeople, they don't talk about it. In terms of those who are currently, in uniform or serving, they're not talking about it in most cases. So I'm sure there's more to tell, and I want to tell those stories. And I'm definitely like sniffing up a few trees on this one.
Wow. Okay, so there's a couple things. First thing, we have to reset the room, just in case there's anybody new in the room, and just catching us here in the middle. Welcome. Thank you for being here. There's 100 of you guys here. Don't forget, check out our links below that included our Patreon. You can donate through the Super Chat, which you've seen. So if you got a question for Daniel, and it's important, ask it. It's a great way to get your question seen. We got Rather Be Squidding, we got Michael, and of course Daniel Otis from Vice Magazine, among other publications, many others. So we're talking UAPs and UFOs over the Canadian airspace, and also our executive producer just popped in the private chat that this is breaking news. NASA Chief Bill Nelson has ordered NASA scientists to investigate UAP and UFOs immediately. Says he's been briefed that alien origins are possible on new NASA investigation. I've been here for a month and I've started it.
Wow. That's so
quote.
Interesting.
That's
That's wild.
And now now I feel like we gotta stop everything and go watch this. But if my producer's nailing that, which I don't think he's getting it wrong, because Bill Nelson there's a clip of Bill Nelson that we were going to talk about later in the show. And he is the NASA chief. If he says, quote, "I've been here a month and I've started it," in regards to this investigation. He also just sent me a clip from CNN. Yeah, this is real. Okay. All right. Doesn't seem like it's a video. Okay. Anyway, we'll get to that in the second hour of the show. But that's
speaking of that, and maybe this is something that Daniel can help us with, because I'm just trying to understand the New York Times article that broke last night about 7:30, and it was interesting because they came out with a headline and they specifically made mention of the fact that this had nothing to do with extraterrestrial intelligence, and then they came back and changed their headline, and I like to say UFO Twitter did it, but they came back and changed their headline to "U.S. finds no evidence of alien technology and flying objects, but can't rule it out either." They obviously felt like that was important enough to come back and reiterate. What are your thoughts on how, how journalists, and obviously you don't get to pick your headline. I know that. But
wow. Okay, so more breaking news. China confirms it has 2 of its own UFO task forces and claims to be using AI to investigate recent increases of UFO activity in Chinese airspace. Story by The Debrief. Wow. Wow. Okay. Sorry to interrupt that question, but shit is happening right now. And sorry, Daniel, I don't mean this to rain on your parade, but we have to mention it. You guys, we're going to save these stories for the second half, okay? We're going to talk about all of these. We're going to watch the videos. We're going to look at the debrief articles. So be patient. We're going to get to it. But yeah, I mean, Michael, sorry, continue with the question. I just had to say
no worries.
One thing about that China piece, I saw that. Yeah. First thing this morning, I think it was in the South China Morning Post.
Okay.
It was in the South China Morning Post, which would mean that if it's appearing in the, a Chinese newspaper first, it's probably it was a sanctioned story, right? Like, like those newspapers in China don't all, if they're investigating something, media. There might be some official sanction for it. That the information they want, they want to get it out there. That's
right.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, are you saying it's state media and it shouldn't be trusted as much, or are you saying
I'm just saying as a journalist, I saw this story first thing this morning in a Chinese newspaper, an English translation of a Chinese newspaper.
Okay.
So as a journalist, I guess I'm inherently wary of any sort of state-sponsored media or media outlets in authoritarian states.
Yeah,
I know that the South China Morning Post actually has an excellent reputation for being pretty much the country's best newspaper, I'd say. But I mean, if it's even state-sponsored media in America or Canada, I always have a sort of wariness, and I also understand that such outlets are used to disseminate information into the world, right?
100%. But don't you think it's fascinating? And this may be psyops, right? Because the whole idea of what the U.S. is doing right now is we're investigating these UFOs that we are now saying, according to the Times scoop last night, that are not U.S. technology. And so who else is there who could be possessing this technology? The immediate responses are Russia and China. I don't even know why we say Russia anymore. I think that's ridiculous. I think China is the most likely scenario. But that being said, could this be a counterintelligence dissemination psyops move by the Chinese government to throw us off of their scent, or at least to sway public opinion?
Maybe it's just them showing they're involved. I think the real story here, and maybe I could shed some light on it, is this all really is top secret advances in Canadian aerospace. We're just so far ahead of the rest of the world. You guys are always saying, "Oh, is it Russia? Is it China?"
Heard it here first,
right here in Toronto. No, it's definitely not us. I don't think it's us.
And if it is, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to scare you.
I always like to blame the Antarcticans just because I feel like they're the most neutral in the whole on the whole planet, so it doesn't offend anybody. But yeah, I mean, let's just say for a moment that this Chinese report is true, and let's say it's not like a media sponsored thing that they're trying to disseminate information with, and that they do have 2 UAP task force type of initiatives going on. Could this be also them just trying to beat the United States to the punch? You know, because say if China is the first to tell the world that this exists, would that win a lot of trust with, you know, in the world with Chinese, I guess, media or government? You know, if they come out and they say something and it turns out to be true, and they were like, see, we were the first to tell you, your government's all hid it from you. I mean, is that something that you think anyone's thinking about?
I think there's a few reasons. Obviously, if they are getting reports of this nature, it stands to the test of reason that they ought to be investigating them. Secondly, you know, there's geopolitical flexing going on with something like this. If they're making an announcement like this right now, it's showing we are also a major power and we are looking into this as well. It's all logical. None of this is surprising. It's a cool story.
It's also interesting because there was another story that came out 2 days ago about Xi Jinping and him looking to soften China's image internationally as well, and to create more of a to kind of be more humble and connective with the world. So I wonder if there's any relationship between these things as this is breaking in the U.S. and them wanting to revise their image.
Could I just say I smell a little bit of bullshit from him coming on that
one?
Dude. That's just me. He wants to be more humble in the world. Okay.
Forget about the ongoing genocide of a whole population in this part of the country.
Right.
We like UFOs too, you know?
Yeah.
Well, my question is, it's obviously
a good way to distract from that.
Obviously, it's a marketing ploy. I mean, we all know that. But the question is, could this task force or whatever their what was it called? What did they call their new UAP task force? They
said they were two claims to investigate recent UFOs, like a UFO task force. They didn't. Okay. It has their own version of it. I'm just curious if that's part of this rebrand, this China rebrand that they're attempting to do. I mean, look. If you want people to not pay attention to the atrocities you're doing, not only within your own country, I mean, just like the fishing violations that country has is insane. If you want to avoid other also human atrocities that you may or may not do, this wouldn't be a great way to sort of get everybody's attention off of it.
Careful, though, because the UFO community has been accused of that for years here in the United States, of paying attention to UFOs when they should be paying attention to social issues.
It's true. I mean, yeah, man, it's a much easier topic to pay attention to. Let's put it that way. It's more fun, that's for sure.
Listen, I've gotten flack. I've been writing about professional aviators' experiences, you know, and I definitely spent a lot of time on like aviation forums and stuff. And I get that feedback. Why are you writing about this when none of us are flying because of COVID and none of us have jobs right now, you know, and we're all grounded and we're all, you know, suffering, like, and you're writing about this, you know?
Right.
Of course, like there's, you know, these are real people with real concerns, and it's fascinating to look into the sky. You know, the Earth has a lot of problems too. We can do both.
I think so. I agree with you. I think we can do more than one thing at a time.
Alex also said, our producer also said, that the Chinese are basically saying it's not them in response to the New York Times story.
Yeah, this sounds like a marketing rebranding.
Maybe this is, you know, the government's, you know, if they actually believe that this is aliens, they'd want to make first contact first, right? Like the country who makes friends with the aliens is probably going to be a leg up. And I guess kind of to that, Daniel, I was wondering, you know, all these Canadian reports, is there ever any hint that we've tried to radio them or, you know, make contact, communicate with these things? Or is it just so bizarre people aren't even thinking about doing that?
Yeah, in terms of the reports that I found in the Canadian government's aviation incident database, you know, it's pilots saying, you know, they're very brief reports, but a lot of them, the pilots are contacting air traffic controllers, asking them if they've seen anything. There's times where there's cases where they say they've attempted, radio contacts. They've tried to find them on radar. So that comes up in the archives. Nobody said, hey, nobody's ever.
No one's talked back.
But yeah, that's it. Definitely for sure.
Wow, this is wild. I'm just so excited because I've never seen this many things break so quickly when it comes to this UFO phenomenon. I mean, this information is getting disseminated day by day, and it's really fascinating. Where do you want to see this go, Daniel? Where for you? What is a good outcome of this entire process?
I mean, the best outcome is the societal normalization of this conversation. The only way we're ever going to be able to begin to understand what the heck is going on is if we can have normal, frank conversations about this that are void of eye rolling and ridicule. You know what I mean? Right. And that's what I hope comes out of this, that enough of the population, of the world accepts that the phenomenon is real and then comes forward with their stories. Maybe a lot of those stories will be easily explained away, but the only way we're going to get to that point is if people bring those stories without fear, and being laughed at and made fun of.
Right. Well, I mean, it's even if you bring this up, we watched, I believe it was on Ellen the other day when they were talking to Jake Tapper about this, and they had the laugh track come in as soon as they even said the word UFO. In the Pentagon the other day, I believe it was John F. Kirby who laughed. He was asked today as well, and he was asked today if the Pentagon has alien bodies and crafts, and of course he laughed. But think about that for a second.
They're asking him if now we've gotten to the point where the press corps is asking them, are there alien bodies and craft? Because
huge.
That's as silly as that question might sound. That's the kind of question. See, this is why I think it's the process, not the result, that they're concerned with. Because if they start saying, yeah, it's a real thing, it's a real phenomenon, which they've already said it's real, it's a real phenomenon, it's in our sky, but they haven't confirmed what's controlling it. But say they did, these are the kind of questions that people are going to start asking, and they don't have the answers for this. I don't think. And I think that's why they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because if they spill the beans, then everybody's going to want to know, well, how were the beans made? Where'd you get the can? How did you open it? All the questions about the beans, But if they only spill a couple of the beans, they still got most of them in the can. It's let's just not say anything and pretend the can's not there. It's wild to me. But I think Daniel's right. We've got Chinese governments talking about it, even if it is misinformation. It's going to start inspiring other pilots, other police officers, other really credible people to come out of the woodwork and start having this conversation without the eye rolls and without the stigma and the ridicule. It's. Let me ask you this, Daniel, and I know it's been about a year, but if you've been to any cocktail parties or social gatherings, and I know when I go to a party, I'm not the one to bring this up, but I'm always my ears are perking for anybody to say UFO. So that way I can be okay, let me pop in this corner of the conversation. Do you do that as well? Do you find when you're explaining this to your peers that they give you the seriousness that it deserves, or do you find yourself going, God, why am I talking about this again? Look at these people's faces. They're looking at me like I'm a nutball.
It goes both ways. I've been, my first story on the topic was published in April, but I was I was intensely researching the subject for about a year prior to that. Mm-hmm. I felt like I needed that sort of foundational background to even be able to, have conversations with folks like you that have been engaging with it for much longer in some cases. So yeah, I'm not actually going to cocktail parties because I live in Toronto, and we actually have had one of the longest COVID lockdowns in the world. So there are no parties happening, but I do talk to my friends. I think at first there were those sort of eye rolls, but over time it's changed. When I started going into the Canadian government's aviation incident database and reading case after case after case, of odd lights following planes and silvery objects making sharp turns. And, and these are planes being operated by, airlines that people know. Air Canada, WestJet, United, it clicks. It clicks that, I've seen that click happen in people's eyes.
Yeah,
and
that's always fun when it does.
You got several people on the record, right, for the story that were involved in these incidences. Has that been easier in this last year than maybe prior? Or do you think that there might be more people kind of coming out of the woodwork, or is that still a challenge to get those people to get on the record? I
think the more I report on the topic, the easier it becomes, just because, I think if you read my stories, it's just the stories really stick to what's contained within the reports I'm uncovering. There's no speculation. I'm not trying to guess at anything. I'm just presenting the data as it's, as I find it, and, packaging it into like a linear narrative. So sorry, I forgot the beginning of the part of that question, but,
well, yeah, have more people been coming out of the woodwork? Has it been easier to get sources?
So my reporting itself, I think, helps with that, because when I send that to people, they know I will, I will respect their wishes to remain anonymous, for example, and that I'm not going to speculate or sensationalize that material. So I think it is getting easier. I've had pilots and military personnel reach out to me saying, hey, I've seen this on the news. I think I'm ready now. This is a top. So I think it is getting easier. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Daniel. If you had to bet, like roulette, and you had to put one or the other that you're right or wrong on this, and I don't even know what your personal belief is. We haven't even asked that, and I don't even think you'd share it, even if I did ask it, because you're trying to stay neutral. You're a journalist. But if you had to bet, like, the phenomena is real versus the phenomena is something that is human-made and explainable. And when I say real, I mean not human-made, not terrestrial. Where would you put your chips?
Oh, I'm not a betting man. I honestly, sorry if this sounds like a cop-out, but within the scope of my reporting, I actually don't think it matters.
Right.
Like I presented these stories. All of this stuff could be man-made. All of it could be, something more extraordinary. But I think the sort of public safety, national security implications remain the same. The only difference is that, with one of those outcomes, it has a much more profound impact on, us as a species. But I don't think it matters at this point. I think only once we normalize the conversation, and get more reports like this out into the public, once we can normalize the conversation, have more data, and begin to analyze it, maybe we'll start being able to get those answers. Maybe somebody has them right now. I don't, and I just want to keep getting more data.
Yeah, but I do think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Well, I'm starting to believe that, a show like this, articles like yours, spaces where you speak about this topic, I feel like we're kind of on a beach and the tide is rapidly moving away because there's a tidal wave building. And this tidal wave is just going to be a wave of very curious people, because we had a huge freak out last night about this New York Times, headline. And then they changed the headline after everybody freaked out, which is great.
We did it.
I'd be interested to see if you guys can get a print copy to see if they ran a correction with the headline change. That would be interesting. I don't know if they did.
An actual printed copy, you mean?
Yeah, because look at the bottom of the article. Did they run a correction? Or?
They ran a correction on the headline, right?
No, I know they changed the headline, but at the bottom of the article, did they correct it as being inaccurate?
Oh,
that's my question.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
a good
so.
question.
But it never would have printed that, right? I mean, it would have.
The standard practices. So let's say you have a story in print on Monday and there's an error in it. In the next day's print newspaper, there's usually buried somewhere a list of corrections.
But I thought this only went out. Oh, okay. I thought this was an internet story. I didn't know this was actually a printed story yesterday.
I don't know. I don't get a print copy. Yeah. I'm just curious whether or not they just changed the headline and left it there, or whether or not it was like an actual serious it was a serious discussion about the veracity of the headline. I'm sort of curious what that discussion.
Yeah, I'm not
I don't know the
sure. That's
answer.
a good question.
Well, I don't think the original headline was saying anything infactual. It was just inflammatory. It was just it pissed people off. Because, yeah, well, I mean, here's the reason why I say is, like, for me, I'm kind of with you. It doesn't matter at this point. Like, I think the thing that matters is we're trying to get, at least in this country, around 320 million people caught up to where we're at, and this is it's gonna take a while, but the build up to that, if we want to call it ultimate truth or disclosure or whatever, I think this is gonna be a very interesting time in human history, because a lot of folks, just in this country, again, 300. When I go to 60 Minutes YouTube site and I look up their 60-minute hit with Alex Dietrich and Fravor, it had more hits in 3 days than their entire channel with every video combined. I mean, this is something that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, an editor or a news manager would look at, somebody at 60 Minutes, an executive producer would look at and go, holy shit, did you guys see the numbers on the UAP, story we ran this last week? And look at this. This is crazy. Like, and that would encourage them to maybe do some more, maybe longer pieces. I mean, the Australian, I guess, version of 60 Minutes, I'm not sure if I'm accurate in saying that, but they did a beautiful hour-long piece with Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Kevin Day, the radar operator from that day, David Fravor. I mean, it was cinematography was epic. And it was a really great telling of this, but I'm looking at this going, man, I wish 60 Minutes would do something like this. Do you think anything like that might be coming down the road?
I'm sure.
Right?
Oh, come on, like, yeah. Oh, I know. I think those skeptical editors and publishers, after 60 Minutes ran that segment, they, everybody followed, and I'm sure their numbers showed that there's a public appetite. I mean, my first story on the topic was in mid-April, and the response was overwhelming. And it just shows that people just really want level-headed reporting on the subject with no BS. There's not an appetite for speculation, and people just want information. People are curious.
This thing has hit the mainstream stride when marketing departments are taking note, and you have Oreo creating commercials, and now it's just like the Pride Parade movement, and like how Yahoo and all these guys, T-Mobile, are on board now. UFOs are the new Pride. Like, I'm telling you, their marketing departments are seething to get involved in this process.
I got one from Bud Light today. One of their PR emailing people. When aliens are ready, we have the flavor for them.
This is wait till this year's Super Bowl, people. This is gonna be insane. Well, Daniel, look, I know we're running up against the clock here, so I just wanted to say thank you for coming on. You have an open door to come back anytime you want. Tell us about the articles you're writing, and give us I love that perspective that you gave us on the Chinese article. Like, I never would have thought of that, and that's why we wanted to talk to you about some other stuff. So anytime, dude, anytime you want to come by and chat, even if you don't have an article, you're more than welcome to come hang with us, because we really like your work, and we like your perspectives.
Thanks, I appreciate it, and I love the show too. I tune in a lot, and I love what you guys are doing, and keep it up.
Hey, man,
we'll be talking again.
That's a great honor. Thank you, man. That means a lot. We'll see you soon, sir.
Take care.
Ciao. That was cool, man.
What a great guy.
He's cool.
What a great guy. We got to have him back soon.
He's so chill. He really adds there's some cool stuff brewing. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there's some cool stuff brewing, man. Like, it's happening. Like, okay, so we got to start going over everything. So, Michael, let's reset the room. Let me see if we have any friends that are going to join us for the second hour. If not, it'll be the three of us. which is totally
And
cool.
and
with
we
me.
should also do some call-ins. We should also do some call-ins this hour as well.
Well, let's open up the last half hour to some calls.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to take a
Absolutely.
quick swig of my Diet Dr. Pepper here.
Yeah,
It actually
and-
tastes
And
very much
I
like...
was talking to, there's a lot of things brewing today, but there's seem to be a lot of things brewing with Daniel Otis too. So follow him on Twitter. It sounds like he's got some articles coming up.
Speaking of brew,
At DS Otis, make sure you follow him on Twitter.
we're going to put his link in the description of the video once the video's over, so you can also click that as well. But he's pretty easy to find. But speaking of brew,
Well,
good old
Arizona
peach iced tea. Seriously, y'all should hook it up. So real quick, also want to remind you guys, thank you so much. There's 131 of you guys up here. Every time we do a show, the shows get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's because you like, you share, you subscribe. And the more you guys do that, the more you comment, the more you love the show. It just keeps growing. So keep doing it. Visit my Patreon. The Patreon helps me do this show 5 days a week for you guys. 3 days here on the Unidentified Celebrity Review. 2 days on the Singularity Lab. So help create the show. Help support the show. It's a really, really wonderful way to help keep me out of an Uber, because I'm trying to read articles and watch videos while I'm driving people to work. It's not safe.
It's not safe.
It's not safe.
If you guys care
But
about...
that's what I'm doing.
If you guys
So
care
we can
about
do a show.
humans, if you care about people on the road, you will do your part to contribute to Patreon to get
Yeah.
Luis off the road.
Off the road.
So he doesn't
Off the
have to endanger people's lives.
I mean, seriously. And also,
It's
just FYI,
dangerous.
if you don't know what Patreon is, it's just a platform where you can donate $1, $10, $5, $15, $500,000 a month. Yes, that's a tier on my Patreon. But the beautiful thing is nobody gets extra access. So no matter how much you pay, how little you pay, even if you pay $0, you get the same show as everyone else. It's literally just a donation out of your heart to help support the show. And if you like the content, it's a great way to show me that you do. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into...
I just felt really nice because Neil just said, you guys make ufology more sexy than ever.
Thanks,
yeah.
Neil. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, I think it's the ties, probably.
It's probably the ties. Definitely. It's rather, actually. It's not.
Definitely rather.
It's definitely rather. It's
so
neither
cute
one of
when his
us.
nose isn't bleeding.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't got a nosebleed. We got one yesterday at the Singularity Lab. You weren't even there. It was so weird.
Nosebleed heard around the world.
Yeah, indeed it is. Okay, so let's start, because I want to see this CNN NASA video. All right, so let's start there, shall we? I'm gonna move this over here.
Is it the?
I don't think you have it ripped.
C-SPAN one?
No, I don't think you have it ripped because it's
Oh, it just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. So
This
what I'm gonna do?
Do you want to do this one this morning that I have first, and then we'll do that one? Or
Yeah. Let's do that one first.
okay.
I'll put this one on backup.
You know, on the TV recently, on the
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, but I got it in there. Yeah.
you know on the TV
So wait. Stop. Let's start this over.
Yeah,
we should set this up. So this is Bill Nelson, who is what is his official title there? Because I don't want to get this wrong. Bill Nelson is the NASA chief. Okay, so he's the chief of NASA. He's the guy in charge.
And this is something Dr. Dave, a longtime listener, has been talking about all the time. Is that
Dude.
why isn't NASA involved?
For weeks
Right.
he's been talking
For
about
weeks.
it. And he was so mad. He's like,
Well, you
"Y'all
know
gotta do it."
what?
I was like, can you help, Dr. Dave? Can you please help? And then I actually shared this this morning, and I tagged him, and he was like, ooga. He's very happy about it.
That's awesome. Well, dude, like, here's the thing. They see Oreos. They see Budweiser. They see, Twitter and Facebook going crazy. They see 6.4 million hits on a 60 Minutes interview. They're behind the 8 ball. And this guy finally gets it. He finally gets it. So let's listen to what...
He doesn't look like somebody who would get it, so I'm
He
impressed.
does not look like someone who would get it. As a matter of fact, I thought he was Bill Nelson, the politician. Like from early 2000s, late 90s politician. So maybe it is. I could be totally, I don't know. But here we go. All right, let's play.
Neil says he looks like an alien. It's him flying the dolphin.
Oh boy.
To have a sip of that Arizona iced tea. I'm gonna have a sip of my my Diet Dr Pepper. It tastes tremendously like regular Dr Pepper.
It's true. All right.
Navy films. I had known about this in my former capacity in Intel and the Armed Services Committee. And I've talked to those pilots, and they think it's real. So I had talked to Thomas, Dr. Z, about what specifically we could do from a science perspective, in addition to an intel perspective, to try to bring any additional light to this. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm happy to. In the realm of science, we're all about unidentified issues and objects and whatever before. That's what we do. We find something with our observatories, looking at the sky, looking at the Earth, and we go analyze it. We have, history is full of examples of things that were identified or were referred to as UFOs, some types of clouds, phenomena, weather phenomena that way. And for me, I personally think that as we look at or the origin of life in other worlds and look at really what we, especially at the molecular, and bacterial level, which is what we're really using the tools of science for, the kind of questions that focus on life elsewhere are very much in the realm of what we do, using the tools of science. So we will do whatever we can to move our understanding forward. In many cases, all I want to just say, what we learned so far in the last few decades is people tend to underestimate nature. Nature is an amazing place where a lot of miracles happen. Once we understand it, it's like, why didn't we think of that? But the point is, there's amazing science out there that remains to be discovered. We're committed to continue to do that, especially as we take new tools, whether it's James Webb, whether it's the Dragonfly, other missions to look at life in other worlds.
I actually thought this was originally a bit of a cop-out on his part, but then after re-listening to it, I'm like, oh, he might mean...
Yeah. No, he's saying we might have missed it.
Right.
Like, we might have missed it. And it's just like, I'm sure UFO Twitter's going, you missed it! You missed it! What do you mean you missed it? What do you mean? We've been talking about this shit for 60 years! What do you mean? What do you mean you missed it? But yeah, they missed it. They just missed it. They were just ignorant to it, man. Really, more than anything, I think. Dude, that's pretty damn amazing.
Yeah.
NASA's starting to change their tune, but
So did you have a different video you wanted to play?
We do. Well, I'm hoping this is the Alex. Give me a thumbs up or down, or if this CNN video is the same one, or is it something different?
He's typing.
I wish we could just bring him in. So
We need to start setting that up that we can just pop him in. He can pop in for 5 seconds. I realize he hasn't shaved in a month, but I mean, come on, Alex.
Not sure. All right, let me
thumbs up.
Okay. So let me share this screen real quick. So I got this one up. Let me know if you hear this audio real quick. We might get a commercial. Let's see.
The space economy is going to grow from around $350 billion to a base case of approaching 1.1.
Okay, and we get a military-industrial complex commercial for space shit. I mean, dude, this is coming.
Dude, I'm saying, man.
All right, here we go.
Fascinated by UFOs, and the public has seen the videos that our Navy pilots have taken. But do you think that we have been contacted?
Okay, I'm sorry. So this is Bill Nelson. He
Yeah.
was on the Senate Intelligence Committee. He used to be a politician. I was like, because the first video, somebody said they couldn't hear it. I agree. The audio and the video also is crap. I thought it was a video from 10 years ago. I'm like, what? Why are you sending me this? But then I kept watching it and I looked at the date. I was like, oh, this is new. Okay, cool. But now they've put him in charge of NASA. He's a NASA administrator. And he also was he an astronaut, Bill Nelson?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I mean, why would NASA put him in charge? I thought
Clarence William Nelson is an attorney, American attorney, politician, and NASA payload specialist who is currently the administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Nelson previously served as United States Senator for Florida from 2001 to 2019.
That's where I know him. 2001, he was in Florida. That's why. I was in Florida. Okay, so, wow. Okay, so let's see what this article says. Sorry. I just had to, I just popped in my head.
Been fascinated by UFOs, and the public has seen the videos that our Navy pilots have taken. But do you think that we have been contacted by extraterrestrials?
Well, I have talked to those Navy pilots, and they are sure that they saw.
He didn't say no! He didn't say no!
Hey, Luis, real quick, could you go to that bottom left there in the volume slider and try to move that up a little bit?
Oh, yeah, on the video? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yep.
look at that.
There we go.
Matt pointed that out. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Mav. Appreciate that. So I'll rewind it so everyone can hear it again because it was a cool question. Let me hit this 10 seconds. All right, here we go.
Do you think that we have been contacted by extraterrestrials?
Well, I have talked to those Navy pilots, and they are sure that they saw something real. And of course, we've seen their video from their jets. What is it? We don't know. So now that I'm here at NASA, I've turned to our scientists and I've said, would you, looking at it from a scientific standpoint, see if you can determine so that we can have a better idea. We don't know if it's extraterrestrial. We don't know if it's an enemy. We don't know if it's an optical phenomenon. We don't think so because of the characteristics that those Navy jet pilots described as they saw it move around.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
The bottom line is we want to know, and that's what we're trying to do.
What do you think it is? I mean, what's your personal take on it?
I don't have an idea. That's why I turned to our scientists.
And what have they said to you?
Well, they're looking into it.
Damn aliens.
Would you like me to call you when I get an answer?
Yes! Yes! Of course we want you to call us! Of course we want you to call us, Bill Nelson! We gotta get Bill Nelson on the show!
Yes, we gotta get Bill Nelson.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, let's see what else Bill Nelson's got to say. That was awesome! What an awesome answer. What an awesome answer. He didn't say, nope, it's not aliens. He's like, I gave it to the scientists. They're going to try and figure it out. But just know NASA's on it. NASA's on it.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I wonder, Jubilant June. Jubilant June.
What are the people on the International Space Station thinking right now?
Right?
I wonder if they've seen some shit up there.
Well, I wonder what Elon Musk is thinking right now.
Elon Musk's a bit of a pain in the ass.
I wonder if this has even hit him yet.
No.
I mean,
I don't think he's paying attention.
He strikes me as someone who watches CNN.
Does he? Oh,
he does a little bit.
I don't think so. I think he hates CNN.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, it's pure speculation either way.
He doesn't even like to, Anyway, I won't get into it, but.
Yeah, you don't like Elon.
I do. No, I respect Elon. I think there's a lot about Elon that I respect, but I also know, he's got some major issues when it comes to labor. So I'll just leave it at that.
Told trash Elon. He sold me a flamethrower. Yeah.
Jazz thinks we're trashing everyone. We brought up the conversation that Ellen had earlier, and the fact that they had studio laughter over the UFO, and he's like, "Stop trashing Tapper." I'm like, "What are you, Jazz?
We're not trashing Tapper. Tapper had nothing to do with the studio laughs, but he did have something to do with a blue Tic Tac. Anyway, not gonna get into that. All right, here we go.
Pentagon, they will soon release their report on UFOs. But when people think of mysterious things flying in the sky and aliens, they think of NASA. So what have you guys been briefed about?
No, they don't. Nobody thinks of NASA. Nobody thinks of NASA when they think of not when they think of aliens. They don't think of NASA. Yeah, man.
Well, Dr. Dave thought of NASA when we started talking about aliens. Like, why is nobody talking to NASA? We're like, well, I don't know. Why is nobody talking to NASA?
Look, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with that. Right?
Out in terms of this report, have you been involved in any way?
I was actually briefed on this a couple of years ago in my capacity on the Senate Armed Services Committee.
Yeah.
NASA appropriately is going to look at it through the lens of its scientists. And that's what we're doing.
But do you think the agency should be more involved at this point?
Well, we are, and I've started it. I've been here a month, and I've started it.
Yes! Yes! Yes, Bill Nelson! Been here a month.
Too.
He's been here a month. First, that's had to have been the first thing on the docket. Right? I mean, like, he's only been there a month and he's already got scientists looking into UFOs? Are you kidding me?
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
He's genuinely curious about this too. Like he looks curious, like which is awesome to see, right?
Well, he doesn't only look curious, rather, I'm glad you brought that up. He looks sure.
Yeah.
Like, he looks sure of himself. Like, he's got a big smile on his face because he knows he's not going to look like an asshole at the end of this. Like, he knows that whatever dollars they're spending, whatever resources they're using to look at this, that's going to go against him if it blows up in his face. Right? I mean, like, if he's way off on this, Bill Nelson maybe gets fired. Maybe he doesn't care. He's at a point in his life where he's like, I'm letting it ride, baby. Wow. You know, like, he doesn't care. But, like, I think he does. I mean, nobody wants to get fired. Nobody wants to do a bad job, I'm assuming, you know?
And Luis, did you say he was in the Senate until 2019? Was that
2018 or 19, yeah. So pretty recently.
His brief was probably around the same time that the New York Times article broke, I would assume.
Probably. I mean, dude, look at the smile on this dude's face. Look at that. Where's my screen?
We don't see it.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Please post
where'd
the
it
link
go?
to the video, guys.
I got that.
Do you have the link you can drop in the video?
I do have the link. I'm going to send it to you guys right now. Give me 2 seconds. I just copied it. Popping it in there right now for you guys.
Put it in private?
Yeah,
got it. Okay, cool.
Could also put it in private.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so look at his face. Look at his face, dude.
He looks like he knows stuff.
Yes, he does look like he knows stuff.
The question is, and I hate to be the asshole in the room, but don't forget about psyops. Be careful.
I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay, so what's the psyops angle on this? Please break it down for me. What's the psyops angle on this?
Well, I think the psyops angle would be if there was a psyops happening, then you'd want somebody who's in the know when it comes to the Senate Intelligence Commission and agencies, and you'd want somebody if this whole thing is to fund the military or continue the fund. And I don't buy this.
Yeah,
I don't buy this. If there is psyops, it's probably something that I don't even get. But if it was, if there's that smile is pretty, I don't know.
I mean, dude, he is.
He looks like the Joker.
I mean, look at him. Look at that. Look at that guy, dude. Does that look like a guy that's not sure about what he's talking about?
No, that's my point.
I mean, dude, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, Michael, is that I personally think the government doesn't need to get this creative to steal money for a program.
Dude. I agree.
Like,
to
me, it's a silly notion, but maybe I'm proved wrong. And if I am, I'll walk that back one day. I'll eat the crow. But I don't think I'm going to be wrong on that. But here's the thing, too, man. Let's say this is a psyops, okay? You're playing a really dangerous game with the second biggest superpower on the planet. You're essentially accusing them of infiltrating U.S. airspace and spying on us. Like, publicly. And that's what you're doing over and over and over and over again? What kind of psyops is that? Are you starting a war? Is that what you want? Dude, you want to start a war so you can buy more tanks? I mean... I understand. If this was Iraq, maybe. You know, if it was like, but this is the second most powerful country on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, like I'm kind of teasing about the psyops thing, but
No,
on,
but
on the other
it's a
side
good
of the
point to
thing-
bring up.
Well, I think we have to. We can't eliminate the possibility that we're being manipulated by the U.S. government. If you even pretended to be confident that the U.S. government was not trying to manipulate you, you're an asshole, right? You're the asshole in the room, and don't be the asshole in the room. But
Right.
now, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying, is there another game afoot that we're not aware of? That's all I'm asking. I think we should keep open minds about it.
Right, but what I'm asking is, what are those games?
I don't know, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
I really don't.
Like, we could say that all day till we're blue in the face, but give me the game. Like, just give me the hypothetical game.
I think the hypothetical game, which people have been talking about, is this funding of the military-industrial complex game. But I don't buy that. I don't think that's the government can get money for the military. It always has, and it always will. I don't think that's the game. But if there were a game afoot, I don't think it would be that. I think it would be something possibly more insidious. And I don't know. I don't even have a hypothesis to share with you, Luis.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, they take 56% of the budget goes to military spending. 56% of our budget. Okay, that's a $3 trillion a year budget. So more than 1.5 trillion goes to military spending a year. Mm-hmm. They do not need to come up with a UFO story.
Dude, I agree.
But I'm just trying to really emphasize this because this is CNN now asking some really tough questions. And let's replace Bill Nelson with, I don't know, the president of the United States or the vice president or the secretary of state. How are they going to answer these questions? And I think at some point they're going to start answering these questions. And at that point, are you still going to yell psyops? like who has to come out before you are convinced, okay, this can't be psyops? You know what I mean? Like, who? I mean, because now you're talking about a conspiracy to get, like...
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't
print
think
money.
It's that.
We
Luis,
print money.
I don't.
I know you don't think it's that. I'm speaking to the people who do. Like,
well, yeah, I think that Ross has it right. Is that we need unambiguous images or photos before everyone's going to be convinced it's not a psyop. Like, we need physical evidence.
Then that's a great ask. It's a great ask.
And they asked today. They asked for the bodies.
Right. They asked. Look, the questions are coming, you guys. The questions are coming. It depends on, you know.
Can we thank Angel real quick? Can we take a moment? And
oh my gosh, I didn't even see that, Angel. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Drive Bill Nelson from LAX to Luis. Yeah, that would be great.
We need him on this show, right? That would be so awesome.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yes. Yes, Bill Nelson. I'm from Florida. We're homeboys. I know that white tan you're rocking. My stepdad rocks the same one. Listen, let's get together. Let's talk about this UAP phenomenon. Because, dude, that smile, I want that golden smile on this channel.
That smile scares me, bro.
Channel. No, it don't scare me. It makes me warm and fuzzy because I know that's like, dude, that dude probably hasn't smiled like that since he was a 12-year-old at Christmas Day.
I mean, if that's the case, if he's giddy with glee that he's gonna get to break the biggest story in human history, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, I'm not trying to shit on that parade. I just don't trust the government. And
I don't trust the government either. But this is NASA.
Said I'm a David Greer fan, and that's not true either. So anywho, but I think that it is. We always have to question the government. But you're right. I mean, if he's about to break the biggest story in human history, I'm on board.
I'm on board. All right, let's watch the rest of this. All right, I'm gonna start it from this beautiful smile.
And are you guys working with the Pentagon then on that report?
We are not directly working with them, but I can guarantee you if we find something,
yeah, Bill,
the Pentagon will want to know.
Oh yeah, they would, Bill. Yeah, they would. Damn, dude. I mean, that's killer, bro. That's killer. Like, that's it's Jubilant June. Jubilant June, everyone. Oh man, hold on a second. That's not Jubilant June. That's terrible commercial in my ear. All right. But I mean,
look at what Jazz said.
What did Jazz say?
There's a war going on inside the Pentagon. There's
Yep.
a movie script coming out of this.
Dude,
this is wild shit, you guys.
This again, like we talked about this a few weeks ago, where could this information be being held up because a couple of people in this information apparatus are pissed at each other? Like they're having an argument between these two powerful departments, and this one's saying, well, I'm following the rules, and this one's saying there are no rules. You know, like you don't get to determine when this information comes out. You're just a guy, you know. Sure, you were in Afghanistan and you killed Saddam Hussein's best friend. We don't care. Like, this is exciting. Like, this is an exciting day, dude. We've always wanted NASA in on this conversation. What do you got?
They've always been very, very skeptical. I feel like NASA's been the one. Oh, we have satellites. We know there's not aliens, and now
always.
We're not
wasn't
sure.
it Werner von Braun, the Nazi leader of the NASA space program, that originally said, I don't know if it's rumored. I don't know if this is a rumor or if it's legit, but he said a long time ago that there would be a U.S. government psyops saying that we were going to be at war with aliens. And then you had Reagan in the 80s saying the only way the world would come together is if we were at war with extraterrestrial species. So again, I'm not saying it's psyops, but it's fascinating to follow this topic through history because there's a lot of interesting people who have said such things.
Well, let me ask this. If you laid out this PSYOP scenario, and this is cuckoo, but if you were like, let's say this was like, they know an invasion's coming. Let's say we know it's 2 or 3 years out. And the only way to even have a shot at defeating this invasion or creating a, almost like a art of war type situation where it's just we drag the war out for so long that they're like the resources and the time and the cost is just too much. Let's get out of here. The only way we could survive that is if we coordinated all of the countries in the world to work together.
Oh, you're talking about one world government?
Correct.
You want to bring the conspiracy theories out of the hole, dude. Now you've done it.
I mean, dude, if you're gonna talk psyops, that's the kind of psyops you're talking about. Especially if this conversation starts being had by the president, vice president, secretary of state. Like, if the president of the United States starts answering questions like this, and let's say he answers in the exact same way Bill Nelson does, that's a completely different. I mean, what are the geopolitical ramifications of him saying that? I mean, would that help their foreign policy in bringing more discussions of peace between torn parts of the world?
I'm for the peace. I'm not for doing it in a way that is manipulative to the point. But I get it. You can't just like tell people what to do because they don't fucking listen. But I understand. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we need more peace in this world. But at the same time, it's a crazy time, man.
Yeah, I always dismiss the whole world one government conspiracy theories because it's primarily been just an American phenomenon, right? But now with China saying that they're researching it too, they're into the party.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe I feel like if this is true, you're gonna have a superpower. I think they're gonna really start having a conversation. I think in the Oval Offices. Is this the space race? Like, is this the same as trying to get to the moon first?
Like because extraterrestrial race, like who can make friends with the ETs
not even
first?
So much make friends, but who tells the truth first? Who discloses it? Who shares the information? Because whoever does that, and I keep saying this, not only does it win political points with the American people, but whatever country does this, it's going to win a lot of brownie points. A lot of brownie points, especially if, say, they came out with a craft or they showed you how it worked or they had an idea of how it worked.
Here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing. Nobody's going to fucking believe it no matter what, because you have CGI. You have extraordinary people who can build extraordinary things. Like, no matter I just don't see how you convince people. I don't see how you do that unless somebody has an independent encounter.
Right. Well, hold on real quick before you pop that up. Look at this. Jazz Shaw says, Luis wants a one world government. Totally don't want that. he said he must be destroyed. Okay. Grab your pitchforks and torches and then join me. And then he sends me $50. so I talk about, you know what? The DOD and Susan Goff should hire you to conflict and muddy the waters on these messages because that is some of the most conflicting, confusing shit I've ever seen. But I love you, Jazz. Thank you, man.
We love you, Jazz.
That means the absolute world to me, dude. Seriously, thank you. That's so damn kind. $50 donation. No, it's good. It's good. Okay, so you know what? Let's what else? I mean, dude, we wanted maybe we
everyone who matches my donation will get a personal voicemail message from Mike and Louise. So generally we don't do extra access. However, in the name of Jazz Shaw, we will do it.
We will do it. We will do it. If Jazz says it must be done, it will be done. So we had a couple of other things we wanted to talk about. But do we want to do the UFO videos of the day and then do calls, or do we want to talk about, or do we want to do UFO video of the day and then do the other stuff we wanted to talk about?
I'm in such a giddy mood right now. I want to do a UFO video of the day.
Yeah, well, no, we're going to do UFO video of the day, but I'm saying, what do we do after? Do we talk about the rest of the stuff we want to talk about?
I think we take calls.
We open it to calls.
We open it up. We take calls. We do the whole nine.
All right, so let's reset. All right, so before we continue, real quick, just in case you're wondering, you're watching the Unidentified Celebrity Review. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, share the video, comment as much as you want, because it also helps with the algorithm, especially if you can't donate to the Patreon, which, by the way, the link is in my Linktree is down below, so click that. It take you right to my Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a way to support the show monthly. It goes a long, long way to making sure that we can provide this show 5 days a week for you guys, 2 hours a day. So if you're into that, please help out. And if you can't, don't worry about it. You get the exact same show and the exact same access as everybody else who can. So the only thing we ask is, again, like, subscribe, and share. So appreciate it to all 134 of you out there, everyone in the chat who sends us the love. Thank you. Next week, we've got, who do we got? Who do we got next week? Hold on. We got, goodness gracious. Okay, so we've got, who do we got next week? Jesus. You know, it's on my calendar. It's on my calendar. We got Richard Hoffman. He put it in there. I just can't see it. We got Richard Hoffman from the SCU coming on Monday. He's going to discuss by the way, the SCU is having a really great conference this weekend. It's $60. If you can do it, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of discussions, scientific discussions from the members of SCU and ideas and ways to move forward. Mav! But please don't phone me. I spend every day with you for the foreseeable future. Okay, you got it. Fair enough. Hey, let's access, but thank you. Seriously, you are a gem. Thank you so much for donating.
I'm so sad we don't get to phone her.
I know. Yeah, it kind of bums me out. It's fine. It's totally fine. So then on Wednesday, by the way, go to explorescu.com, I believe is their website, and you can sign up for I'm going to be there. They gave me a pass, so I'm going to go check it out. Mike, I'm going to see if I can get you one too, because we should listen to some of the conferences that are going down this weekend, if you can. I don't know. Yeah. So we'll talk about that on Monday. On Wednesday, we've got Erica Lukes, researcher, UFO historian. She's going to be stopping by the program. We're going to be talking to her. It's been long overdue. Been meaning to get her on the show for a long time. And then on Friday, Mike's not here. But we will have a special guest. Rather, we'll probably be filling in for Mike, and then mystery guest for Friday. So stay tuned for that. And then we've got Singularity Lab on Tuesday.
And you know what we're doing on Tuesday for the Singularity Lab?
Tell me.
We have a very specific interview. We're gonna dive deep. We're gonna be going through actual drone technology that we have right now, and how to understand the difference between a drone, a UAV, and an actual UAP. So we're gonna be digging deep. Jeremy McGowan is coming on. He's writing this like crazy extraordinary document right now about how to identify these things. So if you want to be the first of your friends,
is McGowan doing that on your show?
He's doing it on Tuesday.
Oh, damn it! Damn it!
everything.
I wanted that. Okay, no, that's going to be cool because I got a sneak peek at the document. And look, McGowan does an excellent job of adding a lot of grounded skepticism and realism to what we're talking about. And he really does point out some amazing drone tech that I promise you've never ever have either seen or heard of most of these things that he digs up. So you're going to want to be around for Tuesday's Singularity Lab. It's going to be a killer discussion. And look at this. Look at this.
Alex Garcia.
You get a voicemail, sir, every day. Every day. And then we got Susie Hickson. Love how fun you all make this. This is for Mr. Nelson's glass of bourbon after his interview. Hell yes, Susie. I love it. I would. Oh my God, we need to get Bill Nelson.
I think you should take that glass of bourbon before the interview, personally.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
Luis, real quick, I just want to make sure for those of you who want to join that show about UAP versus UAV versus drones, make sure in the description right now, click on my Linktree and go subscribe to the Singularity Lab and click the bell so you get the notification when we go live on Tuesday. Don't forget to do that.
You guys, the bell's so important because it reminds you when the show's happening. And all the shows happen at the exact same time, Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday, we go a little earlier. We're talking about changing that, to be honest. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, bring the bell. That way you don't have to remember any of that garbage. Just ring the bell and it'll tell you when we go live. Okay, so let's do UFO video of the day. I think we have two.
Yeah, this one's, man, this one made my morning. This one made my morning.
All right, lay it on me. Lay it on me. And by the way, we haven't seen these videos.
And never miss an update.
Okay, I have seen this one.
A 30-second video from Jharkhand is going viral all over the internet. In the video, a strange, eerie-looking human figure can be seen strolling down the road. The video was apparently recorded on the Chhadwa Dam Bridge in the Hazaribagh district by some bikers. Seeing that, some are saying that it is an alien and some are claiming it to be a ghost. After the appearance, there has been a war on the social media sites among the people to decide the exact type of supernatural being that the creature is. Currently, this video has become a topic of discussion in Hazaribagh.
I've seen enough. Yeah, I've seen enough. Okay, so first of all, we couldn't upload the original video. I've seen this one. I've seen the original video without the music and the production value, if that's what you want to call it. This video went viral. Okay, a lot of people saw it and were like, "Oh my God, aliens!" Here's the thing. Watch the beginning of the video. You'll notice, at least for me, I don't buy this one. And the reason why I don't buy it is because at the start of the video, and Mike, if you want to play it, just kill the volume. You'll notice that there's two bikers that literally almost run into it. And they don't swerve. I ride a bike. So I know if something like that popped in front of my bike late at night.
They swerve right there.
Nah.
They swerve.
Nah.
I'm not buying them not swerving.
I think that's just the natural path of the bike that he's taking. I don't think that's a swerve.
Look how the lights of the bikes actually shine on her.
Yeah, you could do that with CGI. Okay. I'm just saying that could be done with CGI. This whole thing could be a CGI thing. That's number one. Number two, I don't know what these guys are saying. It'd be nice to get some context of what these guys are saying. Maybe that might add a little bit to take away from my skepticism. But here's the thing. The video just ends. It just ends.
They always do, don't they?
They always just end. Like if you're filming a crazy naked alien entity, whatever they're claiming this is, why do you stop the video? They just stop the video.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's just like, I don't know, dude.
It quite possibly could have been an actual person who was like, very
Look, that's
thin
where they stopped the
and
video, like
naked.
basically right there.
Yeah,
Well,
and then they got the end of the video, and then they realized it's a person, and then they just chop that out and just release the rest of it to the world.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this was pushed on some websites, people that I like, and I was watching it, I'm like, oh man.
Oh wait, people were saying this is for real?
Yeah, a lot of people thought this was real. I'm not kidding you.
I would just
I'm
like
not
to
kidding.
complain that for UFO of the day, this may be unidentified, but it's neither flying nor
you're
an
right.
object.
That's fair. That's why we have two.
There is another point in it where there's a red light, and maybe it's not in this one, but in the original one, it's at 13 seconds where there's like this red light in the background that goes up, and people were saying that was the mothership or whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway.
If that's the mothership, why'd you stop filming?
Yeah. No.
Why'd you stop filming if it's the coming of them? Why are we stopping the camera, bro? Anyway, next video.
It's garbage, but it's hilarious. I mean, it's hopefully
it is funny, dude. It was funny. It reminded me a lot of when I first saw it. I was like, I remember getting that feeling of like in the early 2000s when I'd see a video online, I'd be like, oh my god. And then I looked at it again. I'm like, don't be an idiot. And I walked myself back off that bridge. Dude, it's hard. It's hard
I know,
sometimes.
we all want to believe bad.
I want to believe so bad. I want it to be real. Like, I want it to be real, but we always have to come back to the terra firma. And I say it all the time on this show. And that terra firma is, we know there's things in the sky. The government is chasing them. Senators confirm them. Bill Nelson is now launching investigations into them through NASA. They're real, okay? Right. We just don't know what they are. And I'm telling you, I don't think that's one of them. That's all I'm saying. All right, what's the next video? Where's Squiddy go?
I don't think I have the next video. Who has the next video? Where's the next video?
Yeah, do we have a next video, Alex? I thought we did, or was I wrong?
Let's see. Yes, Alex says, yes, we do have another video, and he'll probably be sending the link. I'll get it.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, here's what I'll do. I'm going to pop the StreamYard link into the chat. So if you guys want to call us, you want to end this Friday on a right note.
I want to hear somebody who's like, no, that is absolutely real. So if you're that guy,
please come in. If you got the guts, come in.
Do you think it's an alien or ghost? That's my question.
Yeah. Do you think it's an alien or ghost? That's a great question.
Yeah.
So, but just FYI, there's some rules for the call-ins. Don't be naked, number one. Number two, turn down the volume on the YouTube link that you're watching this on so you don't get an echo. And number three, be on a Wi-Fi signal. I think number three is the most important.
Yeah, I don't really care if you're naked.
Yeah. I mean, you won't get on the show if you're naked, but I guess I don't really care, but I want you on the show, but you won't get on if you're naked, is what I'm saying.
It's true.
Okay.
Seth said it's obviously a unicorn dressed as an old nude woman. So I think that's probably C. Answer C.
Answer C.
Yeah, A, B, or C. Alien, ghost, or unicorn dressed as an old nude woman.
Well, okay. Well, let's do this. Let's throw. Did you get the link to that video?
No, I'm still waiting on producer.
So there's some things that we could also talk about because we had. Okay, here's the things we could talk about. So Sagar and Jetty, a friend of the show who helped us with the big phone home and promoting it. He had a tweet criticizing the New York Times story. We've got the FAA data shows strange patterns of military encounters with unidentified aircraft that was just released by The Drive. I haven't been able to read this one. Astrophysicists on UFO sightings. It's terrestrial, not alien, according to CNN. And Tim McMillan. Just dropped an article on the debrief about the Inspector General, and this I got a chance to read. So Tim McMillan, of course, always dropping killer information and knowledge about this topic, and this is in regards to the IG investigation and sort of how and why that got launched. So that was pretty cool. We also got a caller, Hairless Primate, in the house.
Yes.
What is happening, man? No, this is the first time on the show. Welcome.
Yeah, hello guys. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Yeah, we can hear you just great. What do you got for us today?
Sweet. That video was real. No. Don't really. No, I don't buy that video.
Oh boy, yeah, no, that was.
Was it a hairless primate?
Yeah, it looked like a hairless primate, didn't it?
Yeah,
a little
it
bit.
was my cousin.
In fact, I'm certain it was a hairless primate at this point.
Yeah, I couldn't see an ounce of hair on there. Anyway, won't go there.
So what do you got, man?
You know something? You guys just have brought something to this. I was on my way out of the UFO topic because I got into it back in it was 2019. I deep dived and pushed through a lot of BS to get to Robert Hastings and the UFOs and nuke stuff, and then I started to just get disillusioned because I kept finding Greer popping up and people like that, and I was like, oh, come on, because I'm a complete atheist on like spiritual things. And then I was just like, right, I'm out. And then I found you guys. You brought me back.
It.
You brought me back.
I love it. That's good, man. I'm glad we brought you back.
All that's out there, it really is.
Well, you're not,
dude.
You're not just jumping down a rabbit hole saying like, oh, look at that, there's a shadow person over there. It's totally real. You're like, well, let's just check that out.
Yeah. Well, that's what we try to do, man. Like, I mean, the topic is fun, but it's also like some aspects of it are super serious. But if we take ourselves as seriously as the topic, dude, it's no longer fun. And also, we're going to be wrong. Like, there's going to be stuff we say on this show. There's stuff we've probably said on this show that's 100% incorrect. But then again, we're not claiming to be journalists. We're just dudes who are really interested in this stuff. We try to decipher it as best we can. What is this?
Is this our video?
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
This is the other UFO video.
Awesome. I can't see hairless primate.
Let's get that.
I'm still here. I'm done.
No.
Right, so, hairless, will you watch this video with us and tell us what you think?
Oh, go on. Let's have a look.
Let's do it. Love it. Senvang TV.
It's fake.
Những đám mây mù là đặc sản của trời mưa và đôi khi chúng lại.
Oh, this is a pretty cool one. Again, you guys. It's like I want to believe so bad, but let's go.
Do we know what country this is from?
I believe this is from. Is this Thailand, Alex, or was it Korea?
I thought Vietnam, but I'm not.
Oh, maybe it is Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam.
Okay, Vietnam. Okay.
Đây, một tài khoản đã chia sẻ đoạn video ghi lại cảnh sấm chớp, nhưng hiển thị trong đó lại có một hình ảnh rất kỳ lạ nằm giữa bầu trời và ẩn sau tòa nhà cao tầng tại Hà Nội. Chuyện những thứ có hình dáng tự như UFO hay xuất hiện trên bầu trời thì chắc chẳng còn ai thấy xa lạ nữa. Nó được định nghĩa là vật thể bay không xác định, ám chỉ đến vật thể hoặc hiện tượng thị giác bay trên trời mà không thể xác định được đó là gì. Nhiều UFO được miêu tả có đặc tính lạ và đã có người suy xét rằng những UFO là tàu vũ trụ được chế tạo bởi sinh vật ngoài trái đất. Trong đoạn video, ở một khoảnh khắc rất nhỏ, khi sấm chớp nổi lên, có một đám mây đen ở ngay sau tòa nhà, đúng là có hình dáng giống UFO ở trên thật. Điều này để khiến cư dân mạng không khỏi bất ngờ.
That's definitely not what was in the cloud.
Hold on.
Tất nhiên, ai cũng biết đó chỉ là đám mây mà thôi, nhưng dù sao hình thù của nó cũng thú vị và làm nhiều người thích ngắm trời mưa nhiều hơn để bắt gặp những điều bất ngờ. Còn bạn nghĩ sao về hình ảnh kỳ lạ này? Hãy cùng chia sẻ nhé. Trong đoạn video, ở một khoảnh khắc rất nhỏ, khi sấm chớp nổi lên, có một đám mây đen ở ngay sau tòa nhà.
Oh no!
Wait, look!
No! Go ahead, keep going. It's coming. Okay, I don't see it there in the first two flashes.
Có một đám mây đen ở ngay sau tòa.
No. I'm gonna go no.
Mây đen ở ngay sau tòa nhà. Chớp nổi lên, có một đám mây đen ở ngay sau tòa nhà.
You can see right through it. I mean, look, it's cool. It's a cool effect. I gotta tell you, whoever made this, very cool, but that's not real. I'm gonna say that's not real.
I know.
Reminds me of Ghostbusters.
It does. It reminds me of Ghostbusters.
What part of Ghostbusters? The Safe Pub Marshmallow Man, or the
top of the
top crossing the streams? Okay, yeah, where they cross the streams on the top of the tower. Yeah, a little bit. Look at this. $50 super chest, Aaron. And we're gonna have. Are we having Aaron on the Singularity Lab
next week?
Next
he's
week,
join as a panelist.
Thursday.
Yes, maybe Tuesday.
Maybe Tuesday.
I owe him a schedule, so I'm gonna have the schedule done this weekend, and then I'm gonna run it by him. We also got remember Chris Spaghetti from last night on the Singularity Lab? He's coming back as a panelist on the Singularity Lab.
Dude, I liked Chris Spaghetti a lot. So Primate, what are you thinking about all of this news that's been coming out? It's like the news that we talked about today. What are your thoughts? Did seeing Bill Nelson smile give you a warm fuzzy feeling like it did for me?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh no!
Did we lose him?
We lost him. All right, let's see if he gets back. Let's see if he comes back.
All right. Anybody else who wants to hop in?
Yeah,
got,
dude. Don't
10
be
minutes.
Don't be afraid. Here's
minutes.
the StreamYard link again. You guys can come in. Don't be shy. Again, try to be connected to a Wi-Fi so you don't lose signal. Hoping Primate gets back in here. But yeah, check out the link and get your butt back in here, dude.
Did you guys see what Elizondo posted on Twitter after the release of?
I did. Yeah.
It's a wild tweet, dude.
Well, let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
I got it. I got you right here. I mean, Lou's getting pretty fiery lately.
Dude, this was probably one of the most intense things I've seen, just because it was a direct response to the New York Times release and their botched headline.
There he goes. Let's see.
Sorry.
Let's see if he gets big in here.
Hairless.
Come on, you can do it.
See if you can find that tweet while he's coming in.
I got the tweet right now. I'm just gonna share the screen.
Okay.
Oh, we lost him. He might be having connection issues.
Dude, this is fiery.
Yeah, no, this is pretty good shit. So last night, after the New York Times article popped up, he writes, if the New York Times reporting is accurate, the objects being witnessed by pilots around the world are far more advanced than any earthly technologies known to our intelligence services. It's time to release the full report, videos, and data that we've seen in the Pentagon.
Far more advanced than any earthly technologies. What? I mean, you don't got to read too far between the lines here.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he's like on. I mean, yeah, I'm so fascinated what keeps him. I mean, obviously it's the NDA, but I just don't understand why that's okay with an NDA, but just saying it's aliens is not.
Well, because I don't think they know that it's aliens, right?
No, that's true. That's true.
I think that what's really interesting here, so there's 120 reports that are going to be covered by the UAP task force.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they have at least 120 different videos or pieces of evidence that they could be releasing, right? Like they got to have documentation on all of these. There could be a huge treasure trove that's waiting for us.
No, I hope so. I mean, I hope so. Rather, we just had somebody pop in here, but
I think it was UFO Database who we've not had an opportunity to meet directly yet. Who I'd love to meet.
Yeah, hit the link again. See if you guys can get in here. I hope it's not our stream that's causing the issues.
I mean, we're all here.
We're all here. Yeah, it seems to be working okay for us. But I mean, if you're overseas, it could be rough.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of UFO reports, is there a good way for people to share videos with us? I know we have the Discord, which would be a great way. Find the link.
We do have the Discord. You could also. We have an email address. We have an email address, actually, you can send it to. It is, what's the email address again? I think we made it the bigphonehome@gmail.
Oh, yeah.
Big phone
Dude,
home
I feel
Gmail.
so. I love Seth Kuchar so much, and I feel so bad because he sends me stuff all the time. I'm like, how do I know it's real? I'm like, verify it. Get it verified. He's like, do I have to do all the work? I'm like, you're sending me shit, bro. I'm not doing the work. You do the work. You verify it. Then send it to me. So I'm gonna put our email in on. There it is. Somebody beat me to it. Who did that? That was amazing. Okay, so yeah, there it is. The bigphonehome@gmail. You can email us requests. You can email us videos. You can email us whatever you want. We're gonna start checking this thing every day between the four of us, and we'll start looking. So that way we don't lose you on Discord. We don't lose you on Twitter. We don't lose you. I feel like we've got so many different platforms. We don't want to lose what you guys are giving us. Just so you all know, and I just want to say this publicly because I think it's important. So you guys do so much for us, and you you reach out to us and you talk to us and, Discord and Twitter. And if we don't ever get back to you, please know that it's not because we don't love and respect you. It's because it's crazy. Like, you see us here 10 hours a week, Monday through Friday, but what you don't see is the 3 hours of preparation every day for the show. You don't see the post show, and we just and we all run full-time businesses, and it's a lot. So please know that we love and appreciate and respect all of you dearly. And if we don't ever get back,
middle of smoothing, of putting in a process so we don't miss things. And as you guys share, like, and support the channel through Patreon more and more and more, and that happens every month, every day, it grows. It frees up, especially for me, it frees up a ton of time for me not to have to work on a regular 9 to 5. I mean, I'm up at 6 a.m. I drive a car till 2 p.m. I do 2 hours of hardcore research before the show. We do the live show for 2 hours, and then we do a post show for an hour, and then we start prepping for the next day's show for another 2 hours.
And just to be clear, a post show is not it's
not like fun time. It's where we give each other notes. Like, what did we miss? What can we talk about?
I was like, people are gonna think we're
no. We're not doing an There's no overtime special access show that you're missing. Nobody gets special access. Everybody gets the same show at the exact same time. That's one of the goals I had for this channel, because I believe that this topic shouldn't be paid for to get the information or the analysis that you're looking for. It should be free to you. But if you want to help us keep it free, please donate. It's an amazing way to help us and to make sure that you get the show 5 days a week. I know we emphasize this a lot, but God damn, do I hate driving Uber. I hate it more than anything. I'd much rather be doing stuff for this show. So help us help you. We appreciate you. We love you guys a lot.
The amount of people that Luis is putting in danger every single day.
Myself. I'm putting myself in danger.
He's putting himself in danger. Yeah. Do it. If you're going to contribute to Patreon, do it for Michelle, his girlfriend, because we don't want to lose Luis in a rogue LA traffic accident because he's trying to read an article to prep for the show.
And I'm pretty sure Michelle's not going to be doing this show in my place. So, but by the way, if I do die, Michael, you have my permission to continue on. I insist you continue. Continue the mission. Okay?
What do you
Same
think,
thing with you, rather. Same thing with you, rather.
Come to that.
Okay, so we're running up on the end of the show. Rather, you wanna start the music? I mean, if there's anybody else that wants to get in here, we could take another phone call, another question. Come on, get on in here. The water's warm. The water's warm. We got some DOS tapes playing. Rather, while we're waiting on that, if that does happen, please tell everyone where they can find your stuff, what your channel's all about, and what you're doing over there at Rather Be Squidding.
Yeah, thanks, Luis. Got a channel, Rather Be Squidding. Look me up. I keep my eye or ear to the ground on new physics and UAP information, and I try to connect the dots and kind of think of new theories that you might find interesting. Talked about kind crystals last week. Looking into some new radar evidence and stuff that was uncovered years ago by the black balls. I'll be putting a video on that in the next week or two. So yeah, come over and subscribe and listen to what I got to say.
His latest video on time crystals is
awesome.
Pure fire. Go check it out, and then go watch Mike's Singularity Lab, and we talked about it in depth on his channel. So a ton of fun. Rather, thank you so much for stepping up today and being here as always. We appreciate your sweet face, and we'll see you on Monday, homeboy.
Hey, watch that nose, okay?
Yeah, watch that nose. Safe. Please do me a favor. No nosebleeds this weekend, all right?
You got it. See you
later, buddy. Great week, man. Jubilant June is officially started. It's so funny though. Why does it always drop on Thursday and Friday? Why are they trying to get people to miss this stuff? Why are they trying to get people to miss it? They're not going to miss it. This story, I don't care what day you drop it on. NASA investigating aliens and UFOs is not going to go under the rug no matter what day you post it, you guys. Like, this is... I'm sorry. Stop it. Stop. Just drop it when you get it, man. Damn it. Anyway, we got to be grateful. It's Jubilant June.
We are.
No negativity.
It's so funny because like when we start the show, we're coming in, we've been prepping and getting ready and I have to shave and make sure I've got my tie on and I'm all stressed out. And then by the end of this 2 hours, I'm giddy. And it's because of everybody out there who's participating with us, who's engaging with us, who's a part of the process. So I got to give it to you all. Thanks a lot. You make it fun.
Oh man. All right. I'm going to rest this weekend as much as I humanly can. This is a long week. But I loved being here with you guys. I love that you guys stopped by and joined us 5 days a week. We do the show. Don't forget Singularity Lab Tuesdays, Thursdays, Unidentified Celebrity Review, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Hit the like, share, ring the bell. So important. Check out our Patreon and our links below. The show was sponsored by BlueMarlinChronicles.com, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackle since 1995, also known as UFO Dad. Go check him out on Twitter. And we also want to say thank you to DOS Tapes and Dr. Pepper. Both provide some wonderful times here on the Unidentified Celebrity Review. DOS Tapes will be coming out with a new album. Their Bandcamp link is in the description below. Want to say thank you to the unofficial sponsors, Arizona Iced Tea and Diet Dr. Pepper, for keeping us nice and hydrated during the 2 hours of the show. Want to say thank you to Daniel Otis from Vice Magazine. Thank you so much for stopping by. What an amazing conversation we had with him. If you missed it, check it out in the first hour. Again, next week, we've got Richard Hoffman from the SCU. We got Erica Lukes on Friday, and then we got Erica Lukes on Wednesday with mystery guests on Friday. Also, the Skinwalker Revenge reviews kick back in on Wednesday because they took a break this week. So we're going to start the episode 5 review next week. Want to say thank you to everyone who was in the chat, everyone who donated. Tim F, Jazz, Valro, Mav, Jeff, Case for Infinity, Silly Humans, Internet UFO Database. I saw you try to get in here. Maybe we could get you in here next time. Thank you so much for the support. Angel Street, you are a darling. Follow you on Instagram. She's so fun. She's got a YouTube channel. I think it's hilarious. She's only dropped 5 or 6 videos, but I think they're so weird and funny. She's a quirky lady, and I like her a lot. And we've got Seth. Thank you guys so much. Debbie, Fig, or FG Graph, D Meister. I'm just trying to say thank you to all you guys. I mean, I love all of you guys. You guys make this show so much damn fun. So much fun, and it's the reason why I work my ass off every day to do this show, because I like doing it for you guys. I like doing it, of course, for myself too. It's also fun for me, but you guys make it even more special. So thank you all out there. Enjoy the weekend. Don't be afraid to email us again. The bigphonehome@gmail.com if you guys have any suggestions or want to come on the show, or maybe want one of us on your show. Don't be shy.
Look at Kevin Childress showing up at the very end.
Last second. That's so government of you. All right, guys. So I'm gonna let this last tune play out. I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of this song, and then we'll see you guys on Monday at 4:00 for Richard Hoffman from the SCU. Until then, you guys have a great weekend. We love you. Peace. Be safe.